Buffalo Bills Combine coverage is presented by Napa Auto Parts. Visit your local Napa Auto Parts store for Napa know-how and all your car care needs.
Chris Brown here on BuffaloBills.com at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and joining us is Bills head coach Rex Ryan, kind enough to give us a few minutes of his time. And, you know, Coach, you look at the coaching staff that's now fully assembled for you here, and I know you've already stated it once or twice before, you're pretty happy with it, but you look at this collection of experience across the board with this group. I mean, what is it about what you were able to put together? You don't usually see staffs this veteran in terms of NFL experience.
No, I think you're exactly right. It shows really the dedication and the commitment that the Pegulas, mainly our ownership has, and the fact that we wanted to build the best coaching staff that we can get, have an all-star staff, if you will, but also just guys that'll work well together. I think that's the important thing. They're all, it's obviously a group of outstanding individuals, but it's what we do collectively in the team concept, and all these guys grasp that. But yeah, it's without question an impressive group.
And then on the offensive side, I know you guys kind of wanted to regroup and revitalize things on that side of the ball. You've got three guys on that side of the ball, counting Coach Roman, who've been coordinators in this league before. How does that all blend and fit together, and what's your role in it to make sure it does fit together?
Well, I think without question it's going to fit together. I think that's what the work you do going into it. But with Greg Roman, obviously I'm going to lean on Greg, and then having Chris Palmer, having Cromer, Anthony Lynn's a guy that's going to be a coordinator. He's been the assistant head coach and has had head coaching interviews in the league. So I mean, it's an outstanding staff without question, and feel very fortunate about it. But my thing is basically. With Greg Roman, we talked, a ton when we were together in Baltimore. We have the same exact philosophy. We just want to win, and I think whatever that means, we'll do things offensively as well as defensively that focus more on the players that we have and the talents that they have over scheme that we have to fit a square peg in a round hole. We don't need to do that. So. With the type of coaches that we have, the experience that you talked about, we're going to be able to do that.
And then with the offense kind of morphing and changing and developing in those meeting rooms with those guys, how do you kind of check in and keep yourself abreast of what's going on there, as a head coach?
Well, I think number one is, you pop in every now and then, whether you're in the meetings with them. We'll definitely, Greg and I will obviously, I'll lean on him primarily, but, we'll have discussions about, all kinds of things, how we're putting in, the offense, in particular game week. I think that's going to be a big thing, but, I will definitely lean on his, expertise in the staffs, but I will be involved in it, as I will in all phases.
Looking at free agency, which is coming up fast. I know you're here looking at college guys, but there's also some free agent tasks to take care of. I know you're not talking to these players directly, but what about some of those free agents on your roster of note? Jerry Hughes, C.J. Spiller, Denoris Searcy, Brandon Spikes. What's the level of dialogue, at least that you're aware of, between the Bills and these people?
Well, no, I know that, our guys have reached out to them and things, but you'd love to keep everybody. I mean, there's no question about that. They're all outstanding players. But we also know the way the game is, these days. A lot of times you can't necessarily, keep the guys you want. Maybe they get better opportunities financially somewhere else or whatever. But we would love to keep as many of those guys as we can.
You had a free agent visitor in already, a player that got cut loose and was a free agent already, in Josh McCown. How did you leave things with him after the visit was over, and where do they kind of sit moving forward?
I think the big thing is, obviously we have an interest in Josh. He's a veteran quarterback, has that kind of been with several teams and all that. I mean, we know his history, obviously, but this gave us an opportunity to really sit down and visit with Josh and see, how he thought, we would fit him and vice versa. You're able to get, medical stuff on him, information, all kinds of things. So we'll when it's appropriate, we'll proceed. However, we're going to proceed in finding a quarterback. But obviously, we feel good about him. We think that we're not the only team in the league. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in him, maybe in different roles.
More general question with respect to quarterback. You said you want to add a couple probably here before the roster's set. How imperative is it that one of those that you add is a veteran player?
I think in an ideal world, you'd add a veteran player. I don't think there's any doubt about it. But, I'm excited. With that said, I'm also excited about E.J. Manuel and how he ends up, developing. And it's a fresh start for everybody, regardless of who you bring in. So, I'll be excited to see E.J.
You made no secret of your interest to, introduce more of a power run game to the offense. It seems like big backs are becoming more popular again, whether it's Eddie Lacy out in Green Bay or what Marshawn Lynch is doing in Seattle. Do you think there's almost a renewed enthusiasm for the power back in this league? Is there a groundswell developing here?
Oh, that's, I never really thought about it, but certainly I think you have to be able to run the football, and you have to do it, effectively, especially in the later months. Playing in the Northeast. Obviously, it's hard to throw the ball in a hurricane, or when it's, 50-mile-per-hour winds or whatever. So, but you have to be able to run the football, and I think you mentioned the big backs. I think in this league, whether it's a running back, a lineman, defensive back, whoever it is, it's a size-speed league, and if it's all the same, always go with the big guy.
Okay, fair enough. So as you're here at the scouting combine, Coach, you're new with Doug Whaley and the personnel side, and I know they take the lead on things here this week, but how have you worked to try to find where your voice fits in this process here this week with them?
I think first off, it's really a team effort, because this is really where the assistant coaches step in, and they take a huge role. We'll have 60 interviews. Now, obviously, Doug has set those interviews up, but really it's now's the time where the assistant coach really takes over in those meetings. And, we have, say there's 15, or to 20 plays that they're going to go over. The assistant coach is going to go over with those players. We're trying to get a grasp of their football intelligence, if you will, what they've been taught, what they've retained, verbiage-wise, all that type of stuff. You can tell a lot in those interviews.
And then I know you're big on personality and character in terms of on-field demeanor in players. You just want a bunch of tough guys that are going to go run through a brick wall for you. So is there an accurate way to peg that in an interview setting, you think?
I think not necessarily in the interview. I think the tape will speak volumes that way. You mentioned the scouting department. Obviously, they're going to have a great grasp of these young men that they've been with, through probably, 3-4 years of their college. So they're going to know the kind of guy that it is a lot more than we will by spending 15 minutes with them as coaches. But you're right. We do want that kind of mentality. We want the gym rat mentality, if you will, guys that love the game, that are passionate about it, and want to play the game physically. So that's exactly what we're looking for.
All right, Coach, as always, thanks for the time.
All right.
Good luck getting your work done here this week.
I appreciate that.
All right, that's Bills head coach Rex Ryan here on BuffaloBills.com, where our combine coverage is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts.